Verse 282 of Surah Al-Baqarah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, إِذَا تَدَايَنْتُمْ بِدَيْنٍ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى فَاكْتُبُوهُ. O you who believe, when you sit down to discuss a loan that is going to be extended to a certain period, make sure that you write it down. This verse of the Quran is the only verse of the Quran that spans a whole page based on the Uthman Taha writing, and it is the longest verse in the whole Quran. And what is it discussing? Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taking so much time in this verse to discuss this point? Because the verse is talking about how a Muslim is encouraged to be very precise when it comes to his business transactions and the way that he goes about documenting them. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizing this so much? Because there are so many disputes, so many disagreements, so many misunderstandings that will come out when you have not clarified what your understanding of your business transaction is and what the understanding on the other side is. Now, if you take this and you extend it beyond just business transactions, you will find that in a lot of the other types of conversations that we have, in a lot of the other types of arrangements that we have, this also becomes a serious issue. Take marriage, for example. When two people come together, everything is fine and nice and dandy, but in reality, they haven't sat down to really discuss what life is going to look like when they move in together. What are their financial expectations of one another? How do they look at their future? What values are important for them? What are their priorities? They're not specific about these things. They don't discuss these things. They don't make sure that they have the same understanding on each side. This creates a lot of problems. So the verse is talking about how when it comes to business transactions, you should be as specific as you can. And the verse goes on to say, make sure you get someone to write it down. Of course, this is not wajib, but it's highly recommended. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages those who at that time had the knowledge to read and write to come forward and actually do it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to explain who should do the talking and who should do the writing down, who should do the dictating, and who should essentially write down the details of this deal. All of this to make sure that there aren't misunderstandings later. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing this. The place you see this happen the most is in marriages and also with relatives, with friends. You're doing things based on a relationship you have with them. But the moment things get a little bit more serious, you need to be more specific about things so that you make sure that later on it doesn't turn into bigger issues, doesn't turn into misunderstandings. God forbid, doesn't turn into animosity later. This one verse could solve a lot of arguments that we have in our lives.